Hello, everybody. It is Friday, May 29th, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it. We're going to start today with the basketball game from yesterday. Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, which the San Antonio Spurs won 118 to 91 behind a huge third quarter. In that quarter, they scored 32 points. The Thunder only scored 13. In that quarter, the Spurs went on a 20 to nothing run. So the third quarter really was the key for the Spurs in this game. In that third quarter, coming out of the half, they were ready to go. They were fantastic. And ever since that point, man, it was pretty much over. The Spurs led for the entirety of this game. Their biggest lead was 28 in the third quarter, and they had more intensity. They came out ready to go, raring to go. Great job for the Spurs to even up the series and send it back to OKC, tied up for Game 7. Just a big performance when it mattered. And I, I really liked the way the Spurs played. Um, they were just a better team. They really were. And looking at some of the key parts of this game, the three ball, I did say it was going to be important because the Spurs were not hitting their threes in their losses. In this game, they were 36%, which isn't like the greatest, but 15 for 41. It's a lot of threes. And then you look at the Thunder, they were 10 for 40. So they were 25%. So the Spurs hit more threes, and that was a big part of the victory. Additionally, you got to mention they did shoot a lot more free throws, but like the big suspects for shooting free throws, it's Wemby and it's SGA, and Wemby only had four, SGA only had three. So the free throws really going to everybody. Lots of different players were shooting them, and I like the way the game was officiated. We'll get to that, of course, but they out rebounded them. They out assisted them. They just had way more defensive rebounds. They were better in the paint, better on the fast break. They were just the better team. And that kind of says a lot about the San Antonio Spurs because this is their first elimination game. And they, for sure, definitely showed up. Wemby had 28 and 10 in just 28 minutes. Castle had a nice game. Vassell shot the ball pretty well. Harper was amazing. Uh, he was shot the ball very well and was playing good defense. Really, the whole team. De'Aaron Fox was not good at all. He was pretty terrible, but they did it even despite that. So big performance. Really liked what I saw there, and just it was a whole team victory for the Spurs. They did a really great job playing together. What not just relying on Wemby, even though he did have a great game. It was everybody, the whole team, the crowd, super into it. That was a big advantage for the Spurs. Everything went their way last night, and that's why they won the game. On the other side of things, Oklahoma City, not the best game. They had the same amount of turnovers, but they just could not hit their shots, especially in that third quarter. They were 35 for 94 overall, and that's 37%. Uh, they did not shoot the three ball well, like I already mentioned. Um, I don't think any of them had a good game. Uh, Yeah, they were all in the negatives. Nobody had positive plus minus. They just got outplayed in this one. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, not a good game. He was 6 for 18, 0 for 5 from 3. That's kind of what happens when you're not getting those calls. He wasn't flopping. I will say that. He was not flopping like crazy. Like in games 3 and game 5, he was flopping all over the place. In this game, he wasn't really doing that. And to be honest, I'd rather SGA drop 20 points with 5 free throws than like 35 points with 15 free throws. And I will respect that more. And in this game, he just wasn't hitting anything. So he was 6 for 18. I really like how he wasn't flopping. So we got to respect that. The Thunder also, maybe it was just the way the game was going. It didn't seem like they were playing the dirty way that they were before. And the Spurs, you could also say they were getting away with some stuff because you gotta, be partial to both sides. You gotta, call it how it is. So maybe it was just the way the game was going in the Spurs' favor, but I wasn't really noticing it. So maybe that's something. But I guess that leads us to our next point about the referees. And actually, let's just wrap this up here. I've been very anti Thunder this whole series, and I don't think that's necessarily fair to them. It's kind of been like the popular opinion, though, is nobody's really liking the Thunder. And what they're doing is making everybody and myself not like the Thunder. They're a very good team. They're probably the best team in the NBA. But what they're doing is not reflective of a great team. They are a great team. What they're doing isn't what great teams do. So if they could just clean that up, they have the talent to be like a historically good team. If they could just play the game the way it's meant to be played, then everybody would love these guys. Problem is they don't do that, and that's why I'll respect this game more than the other games. Because yes, they got blown out, but they weren't, they weren't doing Thunder things. So I'll give them credit for that. We'll go to the referees now. I was going to mention it. The way this game was officiated was very, very good, and they let them play. They let the players play on both sides. Both sides were being aggressive, and there weren't a lot of fouls being called, and that's good. And we kind of put it under a microscope here because it's deserving of being under a microscope. But I like the way the game was officiated. It felt like a normal basketball game, and I really hope that the referee crew for Game 7 will be like that. Because if it's more of the same, then, um, yeah, that would not be good. But big win for San Antonio. They forced Game 7, which will be on Saturday tomorrow. I'm so excited for that. It's really going to be one of the great games, hopefully of all time. We go to the WNBA. The Valkyries beat the Indiana Fever 90-88. This was a close game. Very close game. Burton dropped 25. Janelle dropped 19. Gabby had 19. And the Valks beat the Fever, who they lost to a couple days ago on Monday. And look, that puts us now at 5-2, second in the West. And this is a big win because it's a team that we had lost to earlier. And this time we were the ones who kind of had the comeback and, uh, closed the gap. Well, we almost blew it as well, but it doesn't matter. But it's kind of a redemption win, and I like that. And then the Wings, they beat the Aces 95-87. Shepard 22 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. That's a monster triple double. In the W today, the Lynx in the Sky, the Sparks and the Mystics, the Mercury and the Liberty, and the Dream and the Fire. NHL, no games yesterday. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes take on the Montreal Canadiens. And in my opinion, this game is kind of already decided. And that's unfortunate because I like Montreal because Noah likes Montreal, so I'm rooting for them. But just the way the Hurricanes have won the last couple of games is just too much. It's too much, I feel like. They Dobich is working his tail off trying to keep them in the game. They're getting shots on shots on shots. In games 3 and 4. 3 was an overtime win, 4 was just a blowout, and they outshot them so heavily. It was game 3, which was the overtime win. So that's basically, it was almost 4 full periods of hockey, and the final shot total was 38-13. That's a huge difference. And then you go to game 4, and it was 43-18. So just really not good for Montreal. That style of play that the Hurricanes play, it's just crushing Montreal. They don't feel equipped for it because they get most of their production offensively from the top line. In the playoffs, it's kind of been the other way around. The team's been very deep offensively, but you can only have your top skaters on the ice for so long, and they're not getting production, period. And when Carolina has the puck, that works into their favor because they're just going to launch shots. They're going to put up so many of them. And even if Dobis shaves like 38 or 39 last time, that's still not enough if you're not getting any goals yourself. So it kind of feels like Carolina, if they can control the game and play it the way they want to, it's over. So we'll have to see how it goes. But if I were to predict how it was going to go, I'd say Carolina wins it, and they win the shot total by a lot and end up winning the game. But we'll see, huh? Uh, all right, we'll go to the baseball. Um, Baseball's fun, man. Baseball's in a good spot. Lots of players are playing well. Um, I guess we could do a standings update going into the weekend. The Rays lead the AL East by a game and a half. They're 34-19. And the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Orioles, and the Red Sox. Blue Jays, Orioles, and Red Sox have kind of been disappointing. The Blue Jays are climbing up the win total, and they are in the final wild card spot. So they're working their way back. In the Central of the American League, it's the Guardians, 33-25, 7 of their last 10. They're pretty hot. Followed by the White Sox, 3 games back at 29-27. The Twins, the Royals, and the Tigers all have losing records. Tigers and the Royals have been on big losing stretches, and they're both terrible on the road, and that's disappointing for them for sure. AL West looks like this: the Mariners lead the division with a losing record. Yikes! They're 28-29, half a game back of them are the A's. The Astros, they have won 7 out of their last 10, 2 in a row. They're 26-32. They're only 2.5 games back of the division, tied with the Rangers, 25-31, and the Angels are 22-35. In the National League, the East, or let's go to the playoffs. It's the Rays, the Guardians, the Mariners, the league leaders, the Yankees, White Sox, and Blue Jays, the A's, Twins, Orioles, Astros, and Rangers all in the hunt for the wild card. American League is not very good, I will say. NL East, the Braves lead it, best team in baseball in my opinion, 38-19. Followed 8.5 games back by the Phillies, who are 29-27, who have just gotten pretty hot since firing their manager. Then the Nats, 29-28, best offense in baseball. That's a big surprise to me. Then the Nats and the Mets, losing records. In the Central, the Brewers lead it, 33-20. They've won 3 in a row. The Cubs, who lost, I think it was 10 in a row. They've won 2 games in a row now, so they're up to 31-26. Followed by the Cards, 29-25. They've lost 4 in a row. The Reds, 29-26. The Pirates, 29-28. The entire division still above 500. In the West, the Dodgers lead it, 36-20. The D-backs, as us Giants fans know, are red hot. They are blisteringly hot. 31-24. They've won 9 of the last 10. I think 10 of 11. Just red hot. They are on fire. The Pods are tied with them, so they're both 31-24. The Pods have actually lost 4 in a row. The Giants are 22-34. The Rockies are 20-37. This is the National League playoffs. The Braves, the Dodgers, and the Brewers all lead the divisions. That feels about right. That feels right. The D-backs and the Padres, 2 NL West teams, both 1 game up on the Cubs, who hold the final wildcard spot, followed closely by the Cardinals, the Reds, the Phillies, the Pirates, and the Nats, and then some losing teams after that. Let's talk about baseball today for the Giants. So this is what it's going to look like. Big story today, Logan Webb back on the mound. And that's great that we're going to have him back. He's been dealing with that injury pretty much the whole year, and that's why he wasn't as good. Hopefully, now that he's all rested up and healthier, he's going to be back to normal Logan Webb. We need that desperately. What I'm concerned about is it too late? Have we already put ourselves in such a bad position that Logan Webb coming back won't change anything? Obviously, having our ace back is going to help in a big way, but is it enough to do anything? I'm not sure. Uh, I'm really not optimistic. Because if the Giants, the Giants are 22-34. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost multiple series in a row. Well, not in a row necessarily, but look, the Colorado Rockies, they're the little brother of the NL West. If there was ever a time for the Giants to get right, it's this 3 game series against the Rockies. But even if we sweep or at least win the series, I don't know if it's going to do anything for me and just for all the fans in terms of the mindset. Because let's say we win 3 games in a row, that's great, but it's the Rockies. You kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. If we lose, it's kind of the end of the season. But even if we do win, it's I don't know if it's going to do anything because of who we're playing, where we are, the way the past 2 weeks have gone. it just feels kind of hopeless, and that is quite unfortunate. Just we've regressed in a lot of ways. The big bats are fine, and they're the best part of this team right now, but everything else has regressed, and now we're just still bad. Things are not going well for us. If there was ever a time to get right, it's now, but maybe it's too late, and maybe it won't be enough. Um, we might be in for a rough summer and for the Giants, but I'm just not gonna get too high on anything. We are very low right now. If we win this game, I'm not gonna just throw a parade. Um, we're just gonna kind of say, okay, we got one. We need to make up 12, and maybe we don't have to look at it like that. Maybe we just look at it as one game at a time. Let's just win one game at a time, and we'll take it from there. And it starts tonight against the Rockies. Webb and Lorenzen. We're not feeling too hot right now. We could really use a win. So let's just try and get one. So that's going to do it for today's episode, you guys. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.